Can everyone hear me online? Okay, so last time we learned about exceptions, correct? Yep. And so we're going to learn a little bit more about exceptions today, and then go over the next program. Which is basically just to add exception handling to your previous program. Can you hear me? I need to fix a couple of things. Okay, so everyone else seems like they can hear me. Richard can hear me in a second. I don't think he's responded yet. Okay, so let's take a look at this program. Try this. We're going to put, and you might have, if you already have it, you can just use what we used last time. We have a try except with x equals an input, y equals input, print x divided by y, and when we run that, we put 9 and then something that's not a number, we should get your numbers are bogus. Does everyone have that, or do they need to type back in? So let's get that working. Oh, wait. This presentation's kind of messed. Let me see if I can find another one. Okay, this wasn't completed. I'm going to do the Python 2 presentation. It looks like that has some things that's kind of messed up. Okay, let's put this program in. Not this one. Go ahead and you can probably borrow from the previous examples that we did, but we're going to enter two numbers and we're going to divide x by 0, x by y, and we're going to catch two exceptions. So notice we have zero division error and type error. So this is how we can catch multiple exceptions. You put in so the normal process is make your program, run it, try to make as many errors happen as possible, note the types of errors you have, and then just write an except block for every type of error you get and make a custom message for that. Does that make sense? And then run the program and try different errors. So if we put 6 and 0, we should get the second number can't be 0. And then if we put 9 and ASDF, you should get that wasn't a number, was it? That work for everybody? That work online? So, that work online? Okay. I'll give you all a little bit of time to get it all typed in. So the errors might be different for Python 3. If it gives you a different, if it still drives like another error, just add another except block or replace the except block that you thought from maybe type error to value error. Let me see if I can type it myself, maybe. And then also because it's Python 2, we do need to convert. You might need to convert to that should work. So that worked. So try that. And let me know when it works. Yeah, we don't have a do another loop. In fact, often what you would do is you would do this: do another equals y, while do another equals y. What I recommend is don't put the do another question inside of the try. Do it out here. Equals. And this, if you put some junk in there, you can keep going on. It'll just keep looping through. Does that work for everyone? So this is one of the nice things about having the exceptions is we can just keep running through the program. So it catches the exception, we display an error message, and then we can drop down to the do another and just keep looping around. Does that make sense online? Now, there are other ways you can catch this. For example, I don't want to. I'm going to make a new program. I'm going to copy this. The second demo. You can actually catch multiple exceptions this way. If I do this though, what error message can I put? I have to do something goofy like, or second number was 0, right? And if we do that, maybe it needs to be in parentheses. It will work, but am I being very precise? Am I being very precise about what error I'm having? Can I give a very precise error message? Not really, right? So this is another way you can do multiple exceptions, but it's not. It's probably not the ideal way. And so that's that. You can maybe say their numbers are bogus, but that's not a very good user experience. Does that make sense online? Now, another thing we can do is we can add this. We can add a variable name after this error. So we could put a comma e, and we could print maybe the syntax changed. I wonder if they got rid of that in Python 3. I think they got rid of it. Let's do the last one, the exception E. Okay, so they're using an as thing, I think, now. So we have to do it except as E. So if we put our, here we're catching the generic exception, which will catch everything. And then we can use E and we can get the message off of this exception that we're catching by saying as E. So if I say this print error E could not convert string to float. So here's my error from the print statement, but this part right here is actually the message that we're catching off the exception. If I run another one and enter the first number, 9 and 0, it gives the error float division by error. So here we're getting the error message that was created by Python that's associated with the exception class, or whichever exception we got. So the divide by 0 error will say float division by 0. The conversion error will say could not convert string to float, and it can convert that. So what's the disadvantage? So so that's kind of convenient. If we do that, then to catch every single exception, this will catch everything. But what's the disadvantage of that? Less info, user might not understand. Yes. Does Python the people who wrote Python, are they able to predict what the best error message is for your user? Not really, right? So often you kind of want to catch the individual exceptions yourself, and you want to custom craft the message you're saying for them. But this is still useful, and what we can do is I want to go back to our previous version of the program, and what I recommend is placing that generic exception call at the end here. And so this is kind of a catch. If we don't get a zero division error and we don't get a value error, then this exception catch will catch everything. Why do you want this at the end and not the beginning? What's that? Yeah, if we put exception E at the beginning, could we ever get to those other two? And so I'm going to experiment with that. I'm going to place this one up here and see if my custom messages come out. So I'm going to put a 9 and a 0 in here. I'm getting the generic exception error, float division by 0. I'm not getting the second number cannot be 0 message. The problem is that this, since it catches everything, will never allow us to get to these other two exceptions. Does that make sense online? So we really want to put these at the end. Now if I put a 9 and a 0, the second number cannot be 0. Do I want to do another? Yes. And let's see if I can get an overflow happening. It's not going to, it's really hard to get Python to not work. And it works anyway. So, in any case, I probably can't drive the getting to this exception with this. Why would we want to put that there anyway? Yeah, do people change code periodically? Yeah, could they modify the thing? Yes. So another programmer might go in there, make some modifications up in this. If we leave that generic exception, if they do something that breaks this, then at least we'll get the error message. And so it's not a bad idea to put that in there. Okay, so let's take a look at the next program. So basically, that's all I want you to do, is I want you to take the last program, which is the class one, right? And you're going to wrap the main part of your program in a try except blocks. And I want you to have basically look for 2 exceptions you can catch. If your program, depending on how you wrote your program, you may not be able to catch 2 exceptions. If that's the case, just make one of them you should be able to catch at least 1 exception. I think, because if someone types in text and you're looking for a number, you should be able to get a conversion error. And then if you can't find one, just maybe pick like a type error or something of that nature. And so you have 2 exceptions, and then write the one that catches the generic exception. Just modify your code with the exception handling code, and then that's all you do for the next assignment. Does that make sense online? You're just adding exception and handling to your existing program. And after that, your program should be bulletproof. I should not be able to make an error that stops the program from running. And note that I recommend leaving the do another outside the loop. What would happen if I put the do another inside of the try block? Got an exception. Can you hear me online? Yeah, so what would happen if this do another here was actually placed as the last line of code in the try block up there? And for you, it'll be input. If I had this, yeah, if it put it up here in the try block, it might be tempting to do that because what if they put a bad input here? But what would happen is if you got an exception, you'd go run the except and it would actually drop completely out of the loop. So, or actually it would never ask them if they want to do another. So you could potentially get an infinite loop type scenario. So you want to do another question to be outside of the try except. And you're inputting a string. So how, is it really likely that you're going to get a bad input out of the do another question? Not really. Does that make sense online? Okay, so that's what we have for today. So the next step is take your code, finish up any programs you've got, and then add the exception handling. And that's all I got for today. Thank you very much.